Hello and welcome. I'm Natalia França Rocha, Content and Conference Manager, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the VitaFoods Insights Virtual Expo Asia Beauty from Within panel discussion, where we'll be discussing go-to-market considerations. Today with us, we have our panelists Irina Kanji, Business Development UK and Nordics at the Alibaba Group, and Carol Zos, Senior Vice President at Jaceiro China Business Innovation and Investment. Zarina has been leading Tmall Group global business development for health and wellness and food and beverage brands at Alibaba UK and Nordics since September 2018. She's responsible for helping brands to enter the Chinese market and build their business by connecting them to over 1.28 billion global annual active consumers across the Alibaba ecosystem, which includes 979 million consumers in China. And Carol, as the Senior Vice President of China Business Innovation and Investment for Jaceiro since 19, she's helping to shape the next phase of transformation for the company by leveraging the dynamics ecosystem and entrepreneurial talent in China. Carol also helped to accelerate the implementations of innovations and new business models to create beauty business as the next growth driver at the Jaceiro Group at a global level. She's also responsible for strategic decisions at Jaceiro Group's M&A in China, establishing strategic alliance and creating opportunities to grow, restructure the group business. For this panel, if you have any questions during the discussion, please post them in the chat section on the right side of your screen, and we'll answer the questions throughout the session. To get this discussion going, our first speaker, Zarina, will give an overview of the beauty from within trends Asia. Following, Carol will share her insights of the market in China. Zarina, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Natalia. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zarina. I'm from Alibaba, and this morning I'm just going to walk you through some trends that we're seeing over at Tmall Global. So firstly, just in case anybody is not aware, Tmall and Tmall Global is the home of brands in China. It's where Chinese consumers come to explore and discover new brands. They can then share and recommend them with friends. And there's a lot of short video content on there which will help to capture the attention of the Chinese consumer. Live streaming is also a huge part of what happens in China and the way that brands can connect to the consumer. Tmall Global particularly is our cross-border e-commerce platform, which enables international brands to access Chinese consumers by using bonded warehouses and effectively selling as they do at home. So the success of Tmall Global really came about with the categories of beauty and health alongside mother and baby, where Chinese consumers were looking for products that they couldn't find at home. So just a little note on live streaming. Taobao Livestream is the world's largest live stream shopping platform. It's become a really, really vital part of how brands from many different categories, but particularly health and beauty, can access the Chinese consumer by explaining to them what the product does, how to use it, its efficacy, before the consumer is able to purchase. So to the end of FY21, we saw $75.3 billion of GMV generated through live streaming sessions. And the volume of content that's created every day in China is huge. There are 150,000 hours of content being streamed every day. So that means that Chinese consumers can access almost anything that they want. But most vitally, it's effective because 60% of live stream viewers are clicking through once they start watching a live stream. So conversion is really high. So next, let's go into a little bit about consumption trends. So first of all, China's health and wellness market is expected to reach $145 billion worth in 2025, which will be double what it was 5 years ago. What we're looking at really is consumption trends because we need to understand who that customer is. Really to understand it is to know that the customer is really young. 85% of our consumers are under 40 and 59% are under 30. So it's a really, really young market. We're dealing with the Gen Z and the millennial consumer. And with that in China, what they do is react very preventatively rather than reactively. So if you have a brand with a product that is traditionally aimed at an over 40 market in the West, you will probably find that it is an under 40 consumer who is purchasing and using in China. So one of the biggest consumption trend differences is really around pill fatigue and the move towards beauty snacks. So Chinese consumers are looking for more novel and exciting ways of accessing their beauty products. What you see here on the screen is actually a niacinamide-infused broccoli ice cream that was developed during the Taobao Makers Festival. Again, very quirky, very exciting, but a really, really unusual way of getting good vitamins and benefits for your skin inside your body. So what a lot of these newer products that are coming out with, they have selling points on skin moisturization to improve elasticity, to reduce wrinkles, to protect against UV, for hair care, lots and lots of different functional benefits. And obviously it's younger people, but particularly it is women who are consuming these products, and especially tier 1 and 2 cities in China. So those that are very digitally savvy, the ones that are more international, that pre-pandemic would have been traveling. So this is really interesting, really something to bear in mind when you think about the trends. It's really around the consumption of those products. And it ranges like from ice cream to breadsticks to gummies. There are lots and lots of different ways that Chinese consumers are looking to consume those products, but very much in the form of snacking. So to look at the trends, we see a lot of trends around inner beauty and natural nutrition. So for Chinese consumers, it really matters what goes into their skin, but onto their skin. So all of the products are really well scrutinized, and quality and safety are of paramount importance. 4 of the top trends that we're seeing are firstly in probiotics. The probiotics category grew 70% for us at Tmall Global year on year last year. And it has historically been led by demand for women's health. So as we see internationally, there is a growing understanding of gut health and protecting the microbiome. And women are the first to come to this. So one of the most successful brands we've worked with is Proven from the UK, which is focused on a women's health product to protect against female health. The next really interesting trend is around superfoods. Obviously in China, traditional Chinese medicine is something that has been followed for millennia. And we see the younger generation still employing these types of solutions. So things like turmeric, moringa, ginseng, they're all really, really interesting for the younger Chinese consumer, so that they can look at things like balancing hormones, treating acne, looking after their gut health. Then the third trend we're seeing is around new technologies. So you see here an example of Doctor's Best NMN. So NMN, NAD, vitamin B boosters, which support healthy aging and sort of almost freeze the skin in time. That's sort of the intended effect for them. So that's what the consumer is looking for, something that will help them stay young in these new technologies. And then it's not just skin, it's also hair. So the 4th trend that we see is around hair supplements and gummies. Hair loss affects 1 in 6 Chinese people. It's, as of 2019, it actually affected 250 million Chinese consumers, and 65% of them were men and 85% of them were under 30. So it's a lot younger than it was even 20 years ago. And they're losing hair due to stress, due to diet, due to really busy lifestyles. So looking for a product that can really help them to prevent hair loss or help the hair to grow thicker is something that is very, very important. The next big trend is around sleep. Sleep is the #1 health issue in China. China's basically become a nation of insomniacs, with more than 300 million of them suffering from sleep problems, sleep disorders. So what we've seen is essentially the business of sleep. The sleep economy in China has nearly doubled from 2015 to 2020, and it's estimated to be worth around $58 billion US. It's basically busy lives, hectic working hours, looking after children, getting to the gym, socializing. So what Chinese consumers are looking for are ways to treat this problem holistically, because obviously good sleep means good skin, means good health. So they're looking for things like sleep aids, pillow sprays, gummies, all manner of different varieties of products. So we see here an example of a Chinese brand Buff, which is a melatonin-infused sleep supplement. And then on the right-hand side, we see a pillow spray from This Works from the UK. So it's not just putting inside your body, but it's also using something like a spray, something holistic that will seep into your body and help you to relax and help you to sleep, because that is going to also help you to be more beautiful. Nextly, we've got the third major trend, which is healthy snacking and functional foods. China's rapidly becoming the world's largest market for healthy foods and healthy eating. You see it particularly in the top tier cities like Shanghai and Beijing. And My Protein from the UK is one of the best examples of a successful meal replacement protein shake that Chinese consumers are looking for. Plant-based proteins are also becoming really popular. Plant-based milks have become much in demand over the last couple of years as the pandemic has moved through. There's also a demand for healthy snacking that comes from very natural ingredients. So one of the most successful brands is the Kind Bar from the US. So just containing purely nuts and fruits from the natural world. It's a great way to have on-the-go snacking that will help fit into a busy life. And then on the right-hand side, you see Wonderlab, which is a Chinese brand. It offers a lot of meal replacements and functional foods. So basically, Chinese consumers are so busy, they want something that's really easy. Wonderlab produces basically a powder in a bottle, and you can fill it up with whatever type of liquid that you want to have. But there are lots of different types of functional foods that are happening in China. So, for example, hyaluronic acid has now been approved to be used as a food material. So it's something that's normally used in plastic surgery. You might recognize it from the front of your moisturizer. It's now a food material. So it can help to increase skin moisturizer. It can reduce fine lines and wrinkles. So the younger consumer is really looking for products that they can consume that contain hyaluronic acid. And the other really exciting trend that we see in China is around punk health. So it's Chinese consumers really trying to achieve a balance. So they lead busy lives. They want to go out and have fun. They want to go out and party late at night, or sometimes they work long hours, or sometimes they're playing computer games till the late hours. So to combat staying up late, what they are looking for are things called night owl beverages. So what they might do is have a coffee which is infused with goji berries or chrysanthemums, which have like traditionally medicinal benefits coming from traditional Chinese medicine. So the younger Chinese consumer is kind of looking for this balance so that they can still go out and have fun, but then they will have something good at the end of the day. So it's the goodness that the older generation would have had from TCM, and then it's the sort of badness of coffee and wines that the younger generation want to have. It's putting them together so that they can basically live by this mantra of stay up late and then use the most expensive and the most exciting products and skincare to compensate for their lives. These products are looking after their skin, but they're also sometimes products that will help get better skin and clearer complexions and help weight loss. So lots of different opportunities there for brands to think differently about the way that products are consumed in China. And then the final trend that I wanted to talk about is beauty tech. Obviously, it's what you put into your skin, into your body. It's the way that things can seep into your skin, like the pillow sprays. But Chinese consumers are massive consumers of beauty tech. They are far more willing to try technologies than we are in the West. There's much less skepticism there. So one of the most successful brands that we have worked with is Smooth Skin. From the UK, which is an IPL hair removal device. They ran a live stream in 2020 as part of Double 11 Global Shopping Festival, which basically had 103 million viewers. So that is more people than watch the Super Bowl who are tuning in to watch a beauty tech device that will remove hair from your skin. So that's a really interesting angle, but then Chinese consumers are also looking for technologies to help them look younger that will supplement the skin health supplements that they're using. One of the most successful brands that we're working with at the moment is Current Body from the UK. And this example here is their LED face mask, which uses infrared and near infrared lights, which will help to improve skin tone, texture, firmness, tightness, and basically give your skin an overall glow. So it's a really easy 10-minute treatment that a Chinese consumer can use at home, maybe even in the office, that will help them to look better, to look healthier. And that it's something that is a real shift from the pandemic, is this home use beauty device. So salons are obviously busy, it takes time out of your day. Being able to help yourself look more beautiful by doing a quick treatment at home is really something that Chinese consumers are finding appealing. So in summary, what we really have are these 4 key points. We've got pill fatigue, natural nutrition, holistic wellness, and new technologies, which basically mean that in China, what we're looking at is the future of beauty being inside and out. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you for this great trends overview, Zarina. Carol, the floor is now yours.
Great. Well, Zarina has basically said all the trends in China. So, hi everyone. I'm Carol. I work at Shiseido and I look after innovations and investments for the company. We're based in Shanghai. So, ever since 2019, one of my projects has been really looking at the ingestible space, because for those of you not living in Asia and not really familiar with the Asia kind of philosophy, so inner beauty has always been in the Asian philosophy. Beauty is holistic, right? In the way of, both in China as well as in Japan, the way that we view beauty is both externally and internally. So part of being beautiful is not only what you apply on your skin, but what you also ingest. So traditional Chinese medicine, which has been around in China for thousands of years, has always focused on herbal ingredients that will give you benefits that whether it's good for your health or also for beauty. So in Chinese consumers' natural, I think, lifestyle is they're used to consuming various herbs or food as medicine. So you don't see many people, I mean, I think it's changing now, but 20 years ago, most people are not taking supplements, not taking medicinal pills or tablets. To them, it's very medicine and it's not very natural. So that's why if you look at the way that the penetration rate in the US, Japan, and China, it's very significant difference. So penetration rate for supplements, I mean, any kind of supplements in the US is around 60%. Japan is around 55%, but China is below 20%. So most people in China are not really taking supplements, and the retention rate are actually only half. So the people who are taking them are not able to continue. So the pickup rate is high. However, they forget, right? So taking supplements is actually a chore for many people. So you see a lot of new brands coming to the market. However, they're not able to sustain the amount of interest. Therefore, you see a lot of trends, as Zarina has presented, but we don't see many brands really sustaining that power. And if you look at the spend per consumer, so the average American spend about $250 a year on supplements. In Japan, it's a little bit lower, around 150. But China, it's super low. It's less than $20. So there's huge room for growth, right? We have about 1.4 billion people here. So I think the market is still young, and so there's still a shift in learning about why is supplements important? Do they actually work? So Zarina talks about the young generation, the Gen Z, right, post 95. So these consumers are very into health and wellness. They're working out more. They're learning so much more from the internet. So for these consumers, they're actually really understanding the benefits of supplements. So you see a lot of the younger consumers shopping not only on Taobao, but across on e-commerce, on the shops. So that, in the past 5 years, the market has doubled every year, and it's a significant opportunity for new players to come into the market. Thus, for us at the Japanese firm, we also kind of believe in the holistic beauty. So my team actually this year has incubated our own ingestible beauty brand. It's called In Liu. So, Ryu, R-Y-U, means flow in Japanese. So inner flow, so beauty flows from within is kind of the meaning to the name. And we focus really on the high technology, combining natural ingredients and technology for beauty benefits. So we are focusing around beauty because that's what our specialties is. But if you look at the market, you see a lot of beauty players like ours that are extending into adjacent spaces such as ingestibles. But you also see a lot of normal, average, I would say, food and beverage players. So you see Coca-Cola, Nestle, a lot of the traditional players extending also into functional areas such as beauty, such as health. So there's a convergence of a lot of industries trying to really grow this segment of the market. So it's quite interesting. And one of the areas, since I cover beauty, is that the functional areas for supplements in beauty is where a lot of the players are entering, because this area is where a lot of the young consumers want. They want to have really good skin, and so you see a lot of the players really showcasing ingredients such as collagen, such as niacinamide, grapeseed extract, all of these antioxidants that consumers know that it's beneficial for your skin. Because there's some really tough regulatory rules in China, we cannot really claim functional benefits on many of these ingredients. So for players who are trying to enter China, it's better to really learn up on the regulatory claims, because aside from a few listed that the country allows you to claim functional benefit, really you cannot claim anything. So that's why a lot of the new players entering the market are focusing on ingredients that people already know, are familiar with. So collagen, everyone knows collagen is good for your skin, right? Everyone knows that vitamin E, vitamin C is also good for antioxidants, so you don't really need to claim them. So those are the areas some of the new players entering the market are focusing on. And then we also see, what Zarina talked about is really a focus around health and wellness on more snackable, functional food areas. So because health and wellness, especially during COVID, has really made not only younger consumers, but older generation really can focus around immunity, working out more. So they're actually understanding a lot of the science behind why people exercise, and you need to replenish after you exercise. So we see a large growth also in the functional protein powder, like workout, more of that area that a lot of the new players are entering as well. So a lot of the local players are also benefiting from this trend because they know the market well. They really understand what Chinese consumers are looking for. So a lot of them are entering through using natural, traditional medicine Chinese ingredients that consumers know for a long time, but they're merging that with interesting formats. So instead of cooking, some herbs in a pot and it doesn't taste very good, they're leveraging some of the ingredient extracts, putting it into maybe a snack bar or putting it into a drink that consumers can actually just buy and drink in a very easy, doable, packable, on-the-go format. So easy format is also helping the growth in this category. So with that said, I have to emphasize that this category is extremely competitive, is extremely high. I would say it's very challenging to gain share of voice, because as a new player, you have to compete with the established players, but also you have to also invest a lot in terms of investment to gain share of voice. So this is not an easy market, I have to say, even for us as a large multinational. I think it is it's a good time to get into the market, because consumers are really willing to learn and willing to try new brands and new formats, anything new. I always say Chinese consumers are they're always ready to try something new. However, the difficult part is, can you get them to come and purchase again? The second purchase is always hardest, because you see a lot of new brands coming to the market. They can always get new customers. However, after a while, it's very difficult to sustain that. So that's another call out that I have to say, in this very competitive market. And then lastly, I think, I don't want to cover too much, because I think Zarina already covered all the trends happening. I also want to say that I know that there's some questions around influencers, and I think I just want to touch upon that. I think right now, because influencers are a must in China, right? They're actually the main channel why people, social media is where people learn about all information, where they learn about what ingredient is good, what people are trying. So it's really important that you have a very well-planned social plan to get your brand or ingredient or technology, so the consumers understand what you're trying to sell, and this is how they learn about your product. And you need to kind of plan ahead of time to gain share of voice. So that's all I have to say. I'll leave the rest for Q&A.
Thank you, Carol, for your overview. Well, thank you both for sharing your amazing insights with us today. Now, to explore more in depth the topic of beauty from within, go-to-market strategies, considerations in Asia, we remind the audience that for you to submit your questions, the chat section is just on the right side of your screen, and we actually already have some questions that came in. And Carol, you ended finishing on influencers, and one of the questions was indeed, do Chinese consumers have any concerns about sponsored content versus unbiased content in the beauty product space, and the role of influencers on that as well? If both you and Zarina can build on each other answers, that would be great. And I'll let you know for more specific questions. There's some specific Shiseido questions, for example.
Zarina, you want to go first? Sorry, guys, I have like construction. So
Yeah, that's fine. So influencers in China. So what we see is that influencers are such an integral part of marketing in China nowadays, and they come hand in hand with live streaming, but also all of the social channels that are available in China. So, for example, Weibo. What the role of the influencer is to really explain how to use the product. And quite often what we see at Tmall on Taobao live streams are the brand coming onto the live stream with the influencer. So one example that we've got of that having happened is Probiotics, which is the UK's #1 vitamins brand. So they had their director of China jump onto a live stream with Jujie, one of the most famous influencers, and they talked about their product called Vision Ace. Vision Ace is actually not one of their top sellers in the UK. In the UK, it's used for older generation once they start to experience macular degeneration. What they did was talk about the benefits of this product, and what it does is protect the lutein in the eyes. So by having the expert from the brand and then the influencer work together, they were able to explain that it's actually a really great product to use for the younger generation to protect your eyes against what we're doing right now, staring at a screen. So Probiotics did a live stream. Within 3 minutes, they sold £60,000 worth of products of Vision Ace. So it's now become one of their top trending products in China. So when you take that type of example, you can see how important working with influencers are in that market.
Okay, sorry guys, if you can't hear me, I have like construction. I just want to add to I think compared to the US, consumers in China are not that much concerned about the authenticity because they know that influencers are paid by the advertisers or brands. Like it's everyone knows that, right? So it doesn't really affect like the consumers' view towards them. But they do want good content. I think content is key. I don't think they want to just read up on whatever the brand is actually saying. They want the influencers to actually put a spin on what they think, and like just accurate, logical. I think reviews or the ways that they perceive the brand are very interesting and making it very interesting for people to consume. As long as the content is interesting and it suits your target audience, I don't think they're that concerned about like if they're paid or not. That's not really what I've been seeing anyway. So.
And speaking of consumers, how do you see consumers in China and Asia perceive European health and supplements brands?
Okay. I guess I'll just so European as in all of Europe. Is that the question?
So consumers from China and Asia, how do you think they perceive European health and supplements brands?
I think it's very so here's the thing. So China since 1980, since the opening of China, right? They've been exposed to a lot of foreign brands. So they've always viewed that foreign brands in Europe or US has much higher technology, and they have, I would say, quote unquote, better sources because they have, in the history of the ingestible market in China, there has been a lot of scandals in the past 20 years. So at least my generation and maybe like a little slightly older, we have a lot of stigma towards a lot of the ingredients manufactured in China. So mostly we will purchase products from abroad or cross-border EC. Australia, Japan, we have much more belief in these brands. However, because of the increase in regulatory in China, the global supply chain, and also younger consumers are very, very optimistic about China, and they're very, very country and country loving. They really, really are patriotic, right? So they don't really care if the products are made from which brand. So the younger consumers are much more willing to accept a lot of local brands. But I would say the older generations still prefer like brands that has like more heritage in foreign countries because they believe it's safer, especially ingestible beauty. Ingestible products are for ingestible, right? They're much more concerned about safety. So the safety stamp is very important. It's actually number one in why people purchase, even more so than the actual function.
Yeah, I'd agree with most of what Carol said there. Chinese consumers really do appreciate goods from European brands, but also US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea. The UK is consistently one of the top 10 markets, along with France, Germany, Switzerland, when we have 11/11 Global Shopping Festival. And Chinese consumers really do look to brands from international markets as a mark of trust, a mark of authenticity, a mark of good quality ingredients, and a mark of top quality manufacturing. When brands that we work with go to China, what they're able to do is communicate their authenticity, their achievements, their awards by presenting many of the certificates and the awards that they've won onto their branded pages, so that the Chinese consumers got a really good understanding of what ingredients are inside and how well regulated they are. So it's certainly something that should be top of mind for a brand when entering China, is their communication strategy of how reputable the brand is, and it's certainly something that the Chinese consumers do look for.
And what kind of products one should look at if one wants to enter the branded ingredients market?
What does it mean by branded ingredient? Sorry, just.
I'm not sure what the audience asks here, but I believe it's just an ingredient that, for example, a patented ingredient, perhaps. But we can move on to another question while, maybe the person who asked wants to expand a little bit more. We have a question here asking about the share of voice. Given the challenge on the share of voice, is it easier to hone in on underdeserved and a specific segment, or aim at the broad swath of under 40s?
I think when we're dealing with China, we're dealing with such an enormous market. There is a place for nearly any brand. We talk about 85% of the consumers being under 40, but we still have 15% who are over 40 who are shopping on Tmall and Tmall Global. So that's still an enormous number when we look at China. What we've also seen through the last couple of years since the pandemic is that more older consumers have come to shop online than ever before. It's the fastest growing age bracket of those who have started shopping online. And historically, it had actually been younger people who were shopping for their parents or grandparents, but now that older consumer is more than capable of doing it. We've also made adaptations within our ecosystem. So for example, we launched a larger format print Taobao app so that it was easier to read for the much older consumers. And we see that those types of products, things like hair loss, products for menopause, products for bone and joint health, heart health, these are all really successful sellers on Tmall and Tmall Global. So I would say if you're a brand who does focus on the older market, there's still a space in China for your products.
And what are some of the reasons that consumers in China that don't actually try supplements? Would it be economic, no immediate effect, or just interesting pills?
From our research, so number one, like I said before, culturally, people just don't like to take pills. That's why you see a lot of more, if you make the supplements into more food snackable formats, it's actually more popular. And then secondly, they don't see the effects. The number one reason why people stop taking them is because they don't see like, is it really benefiting me? If you claim to be this, right? I took it for a month. I don't see any results, so they stop taking it. Definitely not economics, because people actually are willing to spend a lot more on supplements. And if you look at the data, average our customers are spending over $150 on just typical brand of beauty supplements. So definitely not low. So they're willing to spend. It's just that they're not seeing the results, and it's very hard to maintain, and they always forget to take it. Those are the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at Alibaba Group, we definitely see people who are willing to try supplements. From 2020, the health category grew 50% year on year. In 2021, it grew a further 30%. Chinese consumers are definitely willing to try. They're certainly looking for things that they can take. But like Carol said, it's beauty snacks, it's functional foods, it's healthy snacking, it's ways of making supplements and health more exciting, more easy to consume, more fun. And that's where we're seeing a big uptick.
Thank you. And Zarina, you mentioned a lot about women as being a target market for nutracosmetics. And even though we primarily think of women as the target market for nutracosmetics, are there any areas outside of hair that could be interesting for men's product? Do you think there is a market space to target nutracosmetic for male consumers?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen it from both health and beauty that the men in China are equally conscious of looking for products. one really interesting example, I think, is around the gaming industry. The gaming industry is more male focused than female focused. And what we have found recently is that there are gamers who are coming to the market looking for products that will help them to support their hobby. So basically, if you're gaming, you're sat in the same position for a long time. So your bones and your joints, they get a bit stiff. So we've seen a demand for gamers looking for products for bones and joints like glucosamine. What they also look for are supplements that will help them to get focused before they're gaming. So products for brain health. But then once they've finished gaming, it's back to sleep again. They need a product that will help them calm down so that they can sleep better, so that they look fresh and bright once they get back online the next morning.
Perfect. Carol, I have a question here for you asking, what is the appeal for a multinational cosmetic brand like Shiseido to get into the nutricosmetic space when it's still so small? Can you share more insights on the reasoning for the launch of and the value of this new initiative provided to the end consumer?
Sure. I think not many people know, but Shiseido has been in inner beauty for over 30 years. So in Japan, if you ever go to Japan, it's very common to take beauty supplements or beauty drinks at the local 7-Eleven convenience stores, or for people to go and purchase these beauty foods. So it's a very well-established, sophisticated market already in Japan, and Shiseido has been in this business for a long time. It's just that we were never in China. So this is our first foray into extending into China. Like I said before, even though the market is small, it's growing very fast, as well as we believe in holistic beauty, and we believe that beauty is both internal and external. So of course, our primary business will be external only. Will be primarily external. However, we believe that inner beauty is a very key, important part of providing holistic beauty solution for the consumers. So that's why we're extending into it in China.
And while consumers are seeking innovative delivery formats in beauty, are there any constraints when it comes to regulatory models?
Well, like we said before, it's just, I think pills relates to medicine. So anything that's new and interesting and make it fun and snackable, they're much more easy to consume. Whether it's powder, you mix it with yogurt to eat, or it's a drink, you just kind of drink it. So it's convenience to make it fun. In terms of regulatory, I don't think there's any restrictions on formats currently. Not that I know of. So yeah, I think all kind of formats are doable as long as the ingredient itself is workable in those formats.
Thank you. And actually, we have another explanation for the question about branded ingredients. So just going back to that question, do Chinese consumers have any concern about sponsored content versus unbiased content in the beauty product space? What about the role of and then branded ingredients here being the key nutraceutical active ingredients which are branded, for example, KSM-66 for ashwagandha, Lutemax for lutein, etc. So B2B.
I guess from my perspective, I think consumers, like I said, it's a very new market in China. I don't think many people even know these branded ingredients. So I think generally they know the ingredients that, like, maybe lutein is good for your eye, or they know generally what the ingredients are. But as far as my research and the way that I see, the consumers, they're not familiar with several or branded ingredients yet that I see. Yeah.
Okay. And there is a question here asking, how is the astaxanthin market growing in China?
It is growing. We have a brand from Sweden that focuses on astaxanthin that is selling particularly well. It claims to obviously help a variety of products from joints to skin health. So it is a very popular ingredient that we see growing, yes.
Yeah, in beauty, it's one of the top ingredients right now. Very, very hot word in the social channels.
And do you think consumers are purchasing health and supplement products at any specific moments of the year?
I think we see obviously a regular consumer who's purchasing these products, but there are moments in the year when Chinese consumers will come and start purchasing more. So we have obviously just had Women's Day, which takes place on the 3rd of March, otherwise known as Queen's Day in China. It's the third biggest shopping campaign of the calendar at Alibaba. So that is a particular moment where women would come to shop for supplements, but also they might be gifted by the men in their lives as well. So moments like that can be important gifting and purchasing moments for the health category.
Perfect, thank you. We have time for one more question, so I'll just combine two into one. What are some of the key trends in the Chinese market post-COVID? I mean, what are some of the future growth areas in China that you are seeing, and how can brand owners and formulators reach Chinese consumers?
Yeah, I think I covered most of the trends in the presentation, but I'd say probably one of the biggest trends in supplements is probiotics, and one of the biggest trends is also beauty tech.
I think consumers in China, as they get more sophisticated and learn about ingredients, they're much more logical and much more science-based. So anything that you're claiming, they would like to see research. They would like to see that this claim is substantiated, rather than in the past, you can just claim anything. Now that the both regulatory as well as a lot of the enforcement laws in this country do not allow you to say anything unless you have proof. So I think that will be a challenge for a lot of the newer brands or new players coming in. So, we see growth, but new ingredients will be difficult. Yeah.
Well, thank you both, Zarina and Carol, for joining us today and covering all these great points on the beauty from within marketing Asia and China. Thank you also for our audience for joining and submitting all of these great questions. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time to cover all of them. So we definitely encourage you to reach out to Carol and Zarina directly on the platform to continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.